I'm Zion the Lion, and today is a historic day. Roe versus Wade, the 49-year-old Supreme Court decision that legalized abortion, has been overturned. This is a hot-buttoned issue, and this report will only stick to the facts. Yahoo News reports that in a 6-3 decision, the court's conservative majority ruled that individual states can ban or permit abortion rather than it being legal in the entire country. Thus, abortion is now a privilege granted by states and is not a constitutional right. The case also struck down a 1992 ruling, Planned Parenthood versus Casey, that affirmed the right to obtain an abortion up until about 24 weeks of pregnancy. President Joe Biden issued these remarks today.
It was 3 justices named by one president, Donald Trump, who were the core of today's decision to upend the scales of justice and eliminate a fundamental right for women in this country. Make no mistake, this decision is a culmination of a deliberate effort over decades to upset the balance of our law.
Now some background on Roe versus Wade. Who were Roe and Wade? Roe was a name used to disguise the identity of plaintiff Norma Mccorvey, who sued Dallas, Texas District Attorney Henry Wade for the right to an abortion. In 1969, 21-year-old Norma Mccorvey became pregnant for the 3rd time after giving up 2 other babies for adoption. She returned to Dallas, Texas, and unsuccessfully tried to obtain an abortion in the state that only allowed the procedure on the grounds of the mother's life being endangered. Mccorvey sought the help of feminist lawyers who litigated the case over 3 years, all the way up to the Supreme Court, which eventually legalized abortion.
In a landmark ruling, the Supreme Court today legalized abortions. The majority in cases from Texas and Georgia said that the decision to end a pregnancy during the first 3 months belongs to the woman and her doctor, not the government. Thus, the anti-abortion laws of 46 states were rendered unconstitutional.
Now, what happened to the child that Norma Mccorvey, aka Roe, gave birth to? By the time abortion was legalized, Mccorvey had already given birth to the baby, later named Shelley Lynn Thornton, whom she also gave up for adoption.
Any part of you that has ever given any thought to, boy, I'm kind of glad that law went into effect after I was born?
I just don't think about it. To me, I want it to be a non-issue, so I ignore it, thinking that if I ignore it long enough and hard enough, it'll go away, but it never does.
And so,
did Mccorvey reverse her stance on abortion? Yes. Norma Mccorvey became an evangelical Protestant, a branch of Christianity, in the 1990s and began to denounce abortion, becoming pro-life.
I used to think that it was a woman's right to choose, period. But after working in 4 abortion clinics here in the Dallas area and learning a lot more, I started having inner conflicts with myself, Ted. Yes,
how do you feel about a woman's right to have an abortion in the first trimester?
Well, I think for some women it would be appropriate, you know, especially in the case of fetal deformity.
Toward the end of her life, Mccorvey said that she had been paid by anti-abortion groups to support their cause, according to Britannica.
You know, I took their money and they put me out in front of the cameras and told me what to say.
It was all an act.
Yeah. I did it well, too. I'm a good actress. Of course, I'm not acting now.
She died in 2017. Now, what is President Biden's stance on abortion?
Life begins at conception. That's the church's judgment. I accept it in my personal life. But I refuse to impose it on equally devout Christians and Muslims and Jews, and I just refuse to impose that on others.
Overall, it's a huge day in history. June 24th, 2022, the conservative majority Supreme Court ruled that abortion is not a constitutional right and states can individually decide whether they want to allow the procedure. Nearly half of all U.S. states are expected to ban or restrict abortion. Trigger laws are going into effect in states like Mississippi, which have rules that would ban abortion as soon as it becomes delegalized. I'm Zion the Lion for Channel Z.